Okay, I'm hitting record.
Alrighty, I call this meeting of the Arts Council of Alachua County, June 7th, 2021 to order at 5:31 p.m.
And again, we'll have to delay the approval of the agenda in minutes because this is a workshop, so no motions can be made.
Okay, so we're moving to item 4, which is welcome new member Lucia Kurta. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. Thank you.
Would tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a resident of Alachua since 1999. My background is in history. I have a PhD in history, but I also worked a lot in art history and museum studies. I'm also working on a public administration degree. So I'm familiar with public policy and public administration as well. So I'm very excited to be here, to be on the committee, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Welcome.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just a welcome.
Thank you.
I want to let everybody just briefly go around and introduce themselves. My name is David. I'm the chair. I'm basically a lover of everything arts and culture related. I try to support the city of Gainesville and the county in anything they do regarding those two areas. And just look forward to having new blood, new ideas, new creativity here on the board with you, Miss Lucia. And I'll let the vice chair go next in introducing herself.
Hi again, my name is Irina, and I'm the founder and curator of several public art projects. I specialize in street art, mural art, and most of the artworks that you can see around, I was involved in them somehow. So yeah, I really like that we have somebody with a history background and public policy. It's very useful for our board. So welcome, and I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
The other members that are on the meeting or in the meeting?
Me? Oh, I'm Dr. Queen Chikuni. I'm old as dirt and I love art. I was born an artist. I'm a diet artist. I have a BBA, MBA, PDA, PhD. I paint, I write. I'm a mom. What else can I say about me? I cause trouble. That's it.
I'll go next. Hi, really nice to meet you and have you on the board. My name is Chelsea. I have lived most of my life in Gainesville, and I am a consumer of the arts and a performer as well. Primarily identify as a musician. I play a bunch of different instruments in a lot of different bands and toured and recorded, and that's kind of my perspective on this board, where the realm of arts that I try to represent as a member of this board. But I love art in general, and I'm really excited to have someone new on the board. So good to have you here.
Thank you.
Anybody else on the line or on the meeting? Okay.
Carol, we can see, we can hear you. Try to test the speaker.
Yeah.
Okay, hi, I'm Carol Richardson. Thank you so much for joining our board. I'm excited. I've been around for a long time. I have a background in theater as well as arts management, and been on the board since we got started in 2018, but been in the county doing arts and culture since the 80s. That's me.
That's everyone. The next item is City of Art Culture.
So we have Damon Messina and David Sutton on the call to tell us all of the wonderful things that the city of High Springs is doing that's related to the arts.
Hello, how's everyone doing?
Good.
Hi.
I'm Damon Messina. I'm with the City of High Springs Parks and Recreation Department, and my colleague, I think he's here, Dave Sutton. You there, Dave?
I'm here.
Just to kind of give you guys a little bit of where we're at as far as the city. We're trying to change the culture a little bit here as far as the city goes. You know, from Parks and Recreation. And Ms. Richardson, how are you? As you know, being you know, I've known Ms. Richardson for quite some time, as well as her husband. And in this area, we've been very much well known as far as youth sports. And over the past, probably I would say in the past year or so, we've been trying to shift the culture of trying to get involved with more all-inclusive programs such as music and arts, etc. And as of right now, we partnered up with the Children's Trust of Alachua County with one of our local studios, the Good Art News, and we are going to go ahead and provide I believe it's a 6-week program for art camp, and it's going to be here at our building, which is the old school building, which is right next to the museum. To my understanding, numbers can be anywhere to 30 to 50 students, and we're very excited. And the great thing about it, we're going to offer an abundance of scholarships, working in conjunction with the Alachua Children's Trust, and we're pretty excited. We're seeing a good shift, which is going on here with the city. We're trying to create a new identity of what we're doing here, and we feel that going into that direction, as far as arts in general and all-inclusive programs, will be pretty much something that within years we'll be very much known for. Dave, if you have anything to kind of.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is David Sutton. I am the CRA coordinator for the city of High Springs, and my responsibility geographically is the downtown district in High Springs. And part of what I'm looking to do right now is work with the 2 local art studios, the one who is doing the art camp with Damon, and then another local one. We're working on programming to bring more art walks to High Springs through different nights of the week. And I'm also, as part of my strategic planning, I am reinventing the look of downtown, redoing a lot of the landscaping. And my goal is to also, and I will give Gina the credit for this, I couldn't think of the name of it, but she said it's called a sculpture walk. I'm looking to add various pieces of artwork throughout the downtown area to give people something else to walk around and look at. And probably one of the biggest things I'm working on now is the purchase of the Priest Theater. And for those of you who've not been inside it, it is for years been known for a movie theater, but it also has a stage in it. It was originally built as a vaudeville theater at the turn of last century. And I'm looking at bringing live performing arts back to the theater and for High Springs in the community.
All right.
Between
Awesome.
Damon and I, we are keeping busy trying to keep High Springs with some artistic side going to it.
Very
Any
good.
questions?
I have a question. I know that there's a couple places with live music in High Springs. I love visiting High Springs. I love the river, and I actually just bought some property over there. I'm just curious, where does music happen there, and what's the music like?
There are currently 3 places that are showing live music: the High Springs Brewery, the Great Outdoors, and the Pink Flamingo Diner. I just saw, I can't remember who, but if you go on Facebook, the Pink Flamingo is very active as far as telling you what they have going on, and so is the High Springs Brewery. I know the brewery has several events coming up. I think they're actually going to be charging for a couple because it's actual concerts with full bands that are going to be there. But every Friday and Saturday night in downtown High Springs, the brewery and the Great Outdoors are offering live music. The genres vary. Sometimes it's folk, sometimes it's country, sometimes it's classic rock. It's a variety of different things. And the Pink Flamingo, which is actually outside of my CRA district, it's on 441. They've got a small stage. If you're ever familiar with it, the outside covered area, they added a stage in when they did their big remodel. And I'm not sure how active they are at this time, but I do know they're working on getting live music. There is a stage there. And I also took, and please forgive me, I forgot her name, a group from the Hippodrome recently. They're looking at performing small pop-up cabaret shows out here. So I took them to various places around town and trying to work with them on getting that going. They said it's a 2-person show, about 45 minutes long, very crowd interactive. So I'm excited about that coming out here also.
Thank you.
Nice.
Any other questions? Seeing none, well, thank you for joining us this afternoon or evening and providing us that wonderful update about your arts and culture. And we look forward to hearing from you again in the future.
Thank you. We'd love to have y'all out when we have one of these events.
Yes, definitely.
And one quick thing to bring to everybody's attention is that Mr. Sutton has applied to be our alternate member, Arts Council member, and he is on tomorrow's agenda. So I fully expect that he'll be appointed. So we'll be inviting him to our future meetings.
Yeah.
Another guy, yay.
Y'all are going to be teaching me culture.
The item 6, which is the call to artist updates for the extension office, the Ag and Equestrian Center, and then the West Lawn. Gina.
Sure. So I just wanted to report to everybody that the County Commission selected Stacy Brehenny's mural and James Gabbert's sculpture for the Extension Office Call to Artist. For the Ag and Equestrian Center, the County Commission selected Leslie Tharp and Sarah Hines. And for the West Lawn, we do have a citizen, and I'm wondering if she's representing the Community Remembrance Project. So let me see. I'm trying to look through the list of who's here.
Speaking of Ms. Carter.
Ms. Carter, yes. Ms. Carter, are you here on behalf of the Community Remembrance Project Committee?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. Okay, so the County Commission, they rejected all the submittals for the West Lawn art, and they requested staff reach out to an anonymous donor who had offered to match the county's contribution up to $50,000 for a statue in the likeness of Dr. Martin Luther King. So the County Commission also asked that a representative from the Community Remembrance Project be included in the evaluation team. And so, Ms. Carter, are you our person? Okay, well, I guess we'll figure that out in a little bit.
Gina?
Yes.
Before we go to Ms. Carter, I just want to ask a question.
Sure.
When we first brought this up about the West Lawn, we had said that we were not going to use an image of a person. So why are we going with the image?
So the County Commission, they're the ones that had imposed that direction previously, where we didn't want to honor a particular person or a historical event. They just wanted something beautiful for art's sake. And you may remember that we put the call out the first time. We got no submittals whatsoever. And I think it's because the budget was only $25,000. So I asked them if they would increase the budget, which they did, to $50,000. Yeah, $50,000. And then we put it out again and we got submittals, but the top rank submittals were both trees. And so during that time, it was just not we didn't want any unintended consequences of people thinking that we were putting trees on the county lawn and reading too much into like race relations or anything at all like that. So the board said, let's reject all of these and let's do a call for ideas. So the winning call was for the Gainesville megaphone. We then put that call out, and because this is very new news, there was probably 18 or so submittals. There may have been a few more than that. So those all went to the Board of County Commissioners, and they decided to reject all those. And because we had a donor who said they would match the county if we would consider Martin Luther King statue, they said, well, let's try going that route. So so you are correct in that history that they had originally said no to recognizing a particular person, but they've since updated that as of their last motion.
And just in case you haven't seen the chat, Gina, Ms. Carter says she is the individual to be part of the evaluation committee.
Oh, wonderful. And I'll stop sharing the screen for a second so we can all see each other.
So Gina, is like we now have 100,000 budget for the sculpture, am I correct?
So not quite 100,000 because we have spent some money doing the calls. So I did do a draft call to artist and it has the correct budget. Off the top of my head, it's something in the neighborhood of about $76,000. And that includes the private match. So that's our all-in budget at this point. And this call, I'm proposing we do something a little different. And so I need your guidance and advice on this. So the last time we did these call to artists, there was just confusion. And some of the artists, they were saying, you know, it's a little unorthodox to ask us to provide sketches of our work and not pay us basically for the intellectual property. So what I'm proposing at this point is the call actually just include resumes for bronze artists and that they submit 5 to 10 photos of their prior bronze work. And I'm hoping that it's actually of sculptures of people and that they do some close-ups of like their facial features, you know, the back of their head, the sides, you know, close, far, that kind of thing. So you could get a feel for the level of detail that the artist is capable of. And then from there, we would select our top 2 or 3. We'd go to the Board of County Commissioners and we would say, you know, these are the top 2 or 3 that we would like to pay a small stipend, again, out of this exact same budget to produce a sketch. And so then this group would take a second look at just the top 2 or 3 sketches and say, this is the one that we love. And then we go back to the Board of County Commissioners and show them, you know, this is the artist and this is kind of what the statue would look like and what do you think? And so Dr. Queen is raising her hand.
Yes. I feel like if the commissioners went to the point of already making a decision what sculpture you're going to put there, why they're involving us and to make judgment? They might as well go ahead and make the judgments, you know, since they're going to go against their own policies, their own rules and whatnot.
Well, they do need your advice, you know, to try and narrow down. We may have a lot of artists submit, you know, bronze artists submit. So they do need your advice to narrow it down and make some recommendations. And yes, Ms. Carter, I understand your hand was raised too. No, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I think then that there is a problem with my headphones. So sorry about that. I just wanted to kind of highlight some of the things that you said and then kind of ask a question. So the image, in order to get the match, has to be of Dr. King.
So whenever I spoke with the donor, that is his wishes.
Mm-hmm.
Gina?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea to clarify for artists that we are looking specifically for bronze media and that the request is only for past experience, no proposals at this time. And the request is for the sculpture of Martin Luther King. So we had this clarity. because from my experience, and I actually wanted to share with you that I attended an artist evaluation process at the Art in Public Places at the University of Florida the last week, and it was exhausting 4 hours of evaluations of more than 200 applications, and they used Cafe for this, which I think might be better than CodaWorks at some point. If you do want to use this platform, I would say that Cafe is better, and like we would get more applications. And again, even though you try to make it clear, still there are some artists that keep submitting everything that is not related to the call. So if we really say in the topic that bronze sculpture, only a request for past experience, that would help. Thank you.
And yes, ma'am, Ms. Carter.
So thank you for recognizing me again. Mr. Chair, if I may, I know that the Community Remembrance Project team, when we were told that it needed to be of Dr. King in order to get the match, there was discussion about if that's the way we should go, if we should accept the match, because Dr. King is well represented in the city of Gainesville, just a block away downtown. He's at the city hall. There's a multi-purpose building named after Dr. King. Although he is highly worthy of praise and honor, the Community Remembrance Project, many members of that subgroup thought maybe a local person if it needed to be a person, or someone in addition to Dr. King. So I know that that was stated before Commissioner Chestnut, and that there were plans to request the commission to either continue looking for donors or have more thought about that. So I just wanted to bring that to the attention of this group because that was just made last week at our meeting.
And, you know, one of the things, so the county commission, they can make whatever decision direction that they want. And if I'm hearing from two groups that this county commission, they really value your input, that I can go to them and ask if they're open to other suggestions, if it's okay for me to contact the donor and make sure that they're open to other suggestions. And fingers crossed, everybody says yes, then we would need to have some type of process to decide who would be honored. So at least with the current direction, I know it's Dr. King, and that's super easy. It's not controversial. But for example, if the Community Remembrance Project, and I'm totally making this up, says it needs to be Josiah T. Walls, well, then the Arts Council says, well, I don't think it should be Josiah T. Walls. I think it should be, I don't even know who I'm talking about, you know, so there could be a lot.
Gina.
Say what? I froze? Can you hear me? Sorry.
What a face to be making.
Is it better now? Hello. Uh-oh.
I think Martin Luther King, he's a great guy. But I think it's drowned. You know, I just think too many of Martin Luther King is too many, one too many. And I think that it should be something else that's just neutral. Because if you're putting Martin Luther King again, and there's gonna be other people that's gonna reject that. So you're back to square one.
Yeah, I'm also wondering if there would be any feedback from the community that we are not using the idea that we selected from them, which is megaphone, and now we are changing to something else.
I agree with you. That's why I'm saying, you know, sure they are elected officials and they make choices, but I think the community is not going to be like 100% yay. Like I'm saying, I'm part of the community. And sometimes some people feel like Okay, great. Martin Luther King, yay. But you got a lot of, if that's the case, you got a lot of other people that have done a lot more. You know what I mean? But to keep us continue separating on a racial line, I think it should be something a little bit more neutral.
I really like what Yvette said, and I agree with the sentiments of the Remembrance Project that Dr. King is just very well represented. There's literally a bronze of Dr. King across the street from this location already. So, and not to mention all the other places she said. But my other thought is that I just lost my train. Oh, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Go on. I agree. I really agree. I think I just think we should really do this project right because it's going to be scrutinized by the community. And I think it's worth taking the time and getting it right. Oh, I know what I was going to say. It feels like one donor is coming in telling us what to do. And that feels very strange.
I agree. Yes, I agree. And I feel like the commissioners are going along for the money, but it's not really, it's just an overflow. It's just a little too much, and I don't think that's right to dictate what should go there. And the community had already had another type of vision of what should go there.
I have a question. Is it even possible that we use the donors' donation to create Martin Luther King, but in another location? Like we now have budget that technically we can do both. One that we already selected some applications through the call to artists for a budget, and there can be another one. Just an idea.
In other words, put the horn in Martin Luther King. Or what was the thing?
I don't mind going back to the
locations downtown, but different.
So I don't mind going back to the donor and asking if they would be open to a different honoring somebody else in the community that's very significant. And assuming that they say yes, then I don't mind going back to the Board of County Commissioner because I've already heard the same concern from the Community Remembrance Project Committee as well. So that's two citizen groups basically saying the exact same thing. And I kind of tend to think that the commission will be open to that, assuming that the donor is open to that.
One other just quick suggestion. Didn't the community recently come together to rename the school that was on that school on Fifth Avenue, and it's now named after a person. Yvette, you're nodding. What's the name of it now? It's the
Carolyn Palmer.
Right, and I remember seeing some of that process. That was I think it went really well, and it was a community-oriented process where they really reached out to ask for suggestions on who to name it after. I wasn't there for it, so if there are parts of it that didn't go well, I'm not aware of it, but. So I think our community is capable of deciding on an individual that we'd like to honor. We just did it with that school. We could do it again, I think.
Okay, excellent. Now, does everybody kind of like the difference with the call to artist? So this is very different than how we've done it before. So if I could get a little feedback on the process.
Well, I thought the valuation I thought was really good. I thought that the points for name, address, and contact, I thought that was too high of a point.
Okay. So what I could do, just so everybody can see the same thing, I'll share my screen again and go to the evaluation page. So everybody can see what Carol's talking about. So this is what you would be initially evaluating the resume and the photos on.
Right. So for item 1, I thought that could be the 5. And then for number where it says timeline is clear, complete, and reasonable, the points are higher there. Because that's usually what's missing in some of the proposals that we've gotten.
Okay.
Hey, Gina, this is Lyra, if I may.
Yes.
It worries me that number 1 and number 3 are practically the same thing.
They're not. So the number 1 is the artist themselves. That's the artist name, the artist address, the artist contact information. Number 3 is my references. Name,
Okay.
address, and contact information for some references.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. They're very similar, I think.
Maybe maybe it should be changed to references.
Yeah, and then we have the number 6 references are included.
In our prior clients, yeah. And we had taken creativity out, correct?
Correct, because we just want to see their resume and photos of their prior bronze work.
So basically a request for qualifications.
I suppose.
I would still leave creativity of the past work, like prior.
That's where I remember from. Okay.
So we should get rid of either 3 or 6 because those 2 are redundant, right?
I believe so.
Remove 3 or.
Are you doing, is number 6 that you're trying to get prior clients? And number 3 is just a resume with references?
So that was the initial thought, but if there's confusion from this group, I promise Lyra will get eaten up by submitters asking questions. So I'd rather clean it up now. And, depending, we can eliminate 3 or 6, and then we can evaluate, readjust the weight of the scores.
Yeah, I would not eliminate, but we can combine 3 and 6 because you're asking for the name and contact address and contact information of the references. Is there any way that you can do that to combine 3 and 6?
Yeah.
And we can shift the 5 points to the Alachua County resident, which is valuable, I think.
Can we define number 4 instead of say, actually say, people, facial features that's clear. I don't know, kind of defined it a little bit more.
Sure.
Actually say what we're looking.
Mr. Chair, we do have 2 hands raised. I don't know if you want me to call on folks or if you want to call on folks.
I see Miss Yvette, go ahead. Am I muted?
Thank you. I just think that if you want to ensure that prior clients are listed and we do eliminate 6, that you add that the references need to include prior clients, references to include prior clients. Right. And then that way you'll have what you're looking for in 6.
Mr. Sutton.
Hey, I know I'm like the substitute teacher who hasn't been hired. But just thinking of a idea for that location is something representative of Alachua County. And this is, I'm no way an art person, but I don't know, something coming up out of the ground, whether it's hands or something that's representative of the people, the municipalities, the unincorporated areas of the county, holding something that represents the county. So it's just kind of showing how the theme is kind of how Alachua County is supported by so many different kinds of people from all over.
The county diversity. Diversity in the county. Yeah.
You've got the rural parts, you've got Gainesville, and all the different races and everything, everybody that makes this county a great place to be, would be recognized in that as each having a part of supporting Alachua County what it is now.
I think that's what we originally was doing, but I think money have come involved to change it. Am I reading that right, Gina?
Essentially, yes.
What if the donor wanted to put something else, not Martin Luther King, but something that may be in controversy with other parts of the community?
And I'll be happy to give them a call and just let them know, I've talked to 2 different groups and they feel as though Dr. King, he's a great person, but he is already well represented. And if this person would consider somebody else in the community to honor. So, I feel like that you can't have consensus. Sorry, this is a workshop, but I feel like that's kind of what I'm hearing many of you say. And I also heard very similar remarks at the community remembrance. The other things that I heard as far as this point page is to consolidate number 3 and 6 together and state something along the line of references to include prior clients, better define number 4 and add 5 additional points to the Alachua County residents. So we still have 100 points. So did I miss anything from anybody?
Mr. Chair, if I may be recognized.
You may.
The only other thing I think may need to be asked of the donor is a different person or a different idea, because it sounds like this body one or the other.
Sure, I'm very happy to ask them about that. It does say my internet connection is unstable, so I don't know if you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Yes.
Okay.
Gina, maybe we can ask donor, or at least tell the donor about the previous idea that was suggested by the community about the megaphone. Maybe we can collaborate somehow on this together.
Sure, I'm happy to. I know that the one thing that the donor was very important to them is that it looked like whatever it is. So their words were, they don't want it to be an abstract work that represents Dr. King. They want it to look like Dr. King, that anybody from anywhere can come up to the statue and recognize that it's Dr. King. So I don't know that they would be super crazy about anything that's abstract work. So just putting that on everybody's radar.
But also maybe positing to the commissioners that maybe we don't need extra money and that the funding we had was adequate, that we don't necessarily want this important statue, the idea behind it, to be bought by one citizen's money. We want community voicing in what goes there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree with her. Yes, I agree too.
I agree.
It's a kind of consensus almost.
But it's not consensus, just for the record. This is being recorded.
And diversity.
Can I ask a question to Ms. Carter? Has the committee decided where the statues are going to be, the lynching statues?
If you're talking about the statue, it's going to be in the same place Old Joe was. But if you're talking about the memorial, the marker, historical markers,
yes,
it will be in the proximity of where Old Joe was, where this new statue will be. But there's a sidewalk. So on the other side of the sidewalk,
okay,
there's already a historical marker kind of halfway through and midway through. And it's going to be, if you're facing the county administration building, to the left of that, halfway between Old Joe's spot and those historical markers. So for everyone else's information, there will be 2 historical markers placed by EJI, Equal Justice Initiative, to commemorate the lynchings in the city of Gainesville. So we had 12 people lynched post Reconstruction and Jim Crow era, and documented people lynched in Gainesville and Alachua County. And so the Community Remembrance Project and all of the subcommittees are doing soil collections and historical markers. And the one for Gainesville will be at that administration building, very near where this new statue will be.
Okay, thank you. So that's one of the reasons why I wondered that we already gonna have that in that area, that maybe we might need something a little sooner. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but yeah, I would like for us to go back to the mission.
Are you done?
She's mute. Yeah.
The question I was gonna ask is, I know that unveiling was supposed to be this Saturday, but I got the Facebook event alert said it was canceled. Do you have an update on that, Ms. Carter or Gina?
I have one if Ms. Peoples does not.
I do not.
So yes, so the markers won't be here in time to get them installed and ready. So they'll be here by Saturday, but they won't be installed and ready. So that date is tentatively moved to October because every other municipality is doing their soil collections and those things. So we don't want to jump in someone else's spot. So tentatively October 23rd. But if we can't have it on the 23rd, I think the second date was the second week of December, but or the second week of November, but don't hold me to either of those dates because they haven't been solidified yet.
All right, thank you for that update.
But there will be, but the kids, there is a essay contest that happened, and so the kids who will be awarded that monies, they will be reading their essays on Saturday still. So there's still an event, just not the dedication of the markers.
Okay.
And the event will be at the Thomas Center instead of downtown.
Okay. Thank you. And is that everything on the West Lawn Call to Artists, Gina?
Yes, sir.
All righty. So next is item 7, which is the mini, major, and matching grant application discussion.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen again. So the method to my madness on this was it's the same application for everybody so that we don't have people applying multiple times. So you can check only one. Much of the verbiage is the same. I did really clarify up in the top, like the application deadline, and that depends on when this group is able to, review it and me get to the Board of County Commissioners and they bless it and say, yes, this is good to go. But theoretically, I would receive all of the applications July 31st. Then their money would be available to them between October 1st and September 30th. So last time there was some confusion, there was 6 months. And so this allows them the full fiscal year to complete their project, and that they have to have a final report due to me by September 30th, which then I would submit to this board, probably your October or November meeting, just so that they did what they said they were going to do. I think it's kind of easy to understand, that the mini grants, you can get up to $500, the major grants up to $3,500, and then the matching grants, that's only for our small cities. And it requires a 50% match. So that would be up to $3,000. And really the criteria for all of them was the same. The weird nuance to that was probably with the cities, that they really have that that match requirement. But as far as what the money could be used for and what it could not be used for, that really was the same across the board. So we just have the contact information here. It looks, whenever it converted to a PDF, the lines aren't correct, but my original looks the way it's supposed to. And then some of these, again, like just the city, it doesn't apply. So I asked, if the city is answering this very first question about your artistic discipline, like they're not dancers or sculptors or anything like that. They're government. So they would put an NA in this space. But for all the other applicants, they would actually tell us, what is your discipline? How long have you been doing that? The next question is providing some samples of their work, including some links to the work. And again, the cities, it would be NA because they're government. But that might not necessarily be NA. So for example, if I'll pick on High Springs because I've got some High Springs folks on the line, that they had their sculpture walk last year and they want to do the sculpture walk again this year, that maybe they actually did take some video of last year's sculpture walk. So it would be appropriate for them to upload sculpture walk video from last year, just so that you have an idea of what it is. We do ask for all applicants to tell us what will they use this money for. We ask them why Alachua County should fund your grant application. Yeah, I'm sorry, whenever this thing converted, it did some weirdo stuff. Okay, that was it. So very simple. Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay, can we add how is their projects gonna impact Alachua County? Like, tell us why Alachua County should fund you. Can we also add clarity to it by saying how will it impact the communities throughout Alachua County, their project? And can we put a budget there where they show how they're going to raise money, or how they're going to match the grants? How much is going to be towards in-kind service?
Sure.
I don't think we had a budget last time.
That is correct.
For the people. Not. And if you want, I can email you this evening an ideal budget.
Sure, that would be great. What I'm kind of thinking is maybe we'll have a couple of lines like grant amount requested, how like in kind with a blank, other cash contributions with a blank, and then you add it up. And then you could say, oh, wow, well, Alachua County is only giving you $500, but it's really a $2,000 project.
So how are they going to match it? I mean,
so the only ones that have to match it technically are the cities. The others, they don't have to match it. But I know that they are, honestly, they are matching it, that we're not funding 100% of what we funded last year.
Okay.
Gina.
Yes.
From a city perspective, is it only one grant per city?
So I'm glad you brought up our budget. So we had a windfall from the city of Gainesville. So some of the longtime Arts Council members know this history. So whenever you purchase an art tag, the proceeds come to the county then to be reinvested in these types of programs. And so whenever the county took over this from the city back in 2017, there was somewhere in the neighborhood of like $23,000 in unspent funds. Generally, each year from art tag sales, we get $3,000 to $3,500. So last year we awarded, off the top of my head, somewhere in the neighborhood of like $16,000. So if we do award one city, one matching, one mini grant, we can pretty much, that takes up our entire available budget. So that's $7,000 if we just award one in every single category. And that, assuming all of my artists that were awarded last year do indeed spend all of their money, that's probably what we can afford. Now, maybe if, you know, this person didn't spend some money and that person didn't spend some money, maybe we could do 2 mini grants. But there is going to come the point where I only have $3,000 to $3,500 because that's all the fund is generating. So we could basically do a couple of mini grants, or maybe a major grant, maybe a matching grant to the small cities. So like, we're not going to be able to fund many in all of these categories.
And this is for fiscal year 21 to 22?
Correct. So it would be for projects occurring October 1st through September 30th.
All right, and the due date is the end of July?
That is my current proposal. So what I have to do, just so you folks know, is make any proposed changes, and then I have to submit it to the Board of County Commissioners to get their blessing. So at this point, it'd probably be the second meeting in June, if not the first meeting in July. So assuming that's the case, if I can't make it until the July agenda, I think we should extend the deadline to August 31st. Just so that, you know, it's not really fair for the artist to have a week or two to turn in a grant. So with that, then we would get it on your September agenda to review and evaluate the submittals, and then it would go to the board in October. So the artists, they wouldn't necessarily have access to their money October 1st, but if their program, their project, their event occurred, they would still be eligible so long as their event occurred October 1st through September 30th. So we wouldn't penalize them. I just wouldn't be able to give them any money. They'd need to be a smidge patient until after the Board of County Commissioners does agree these are the grants that we're going to award, and then I can reimburse them.
All right, because I'm going to be applying for this for the sculpture walk, and I'm going to be working with Lacey there, the county arborist, on the landscape beds, and probably won't need it October 1st, but we'll need it, you know, by the end of the calendar year.
And assuming you are appointed tomorrow, you will have to recuse yourself because you can't apply for the grant and then also be on the evaluation team to score them.
I don't have a problem with that. I will step aside.
Gina, I have a recommendation for the board. So I was awarded the mini grant last year. It was awesome, but it was not very much money. And I just wonder what if we pulled 500 from the major and gave it to the mini, so that the mini was 1,000 and the major was 3,000. I mean, both of these are actually really small amounts. It's a little bit scoffable that we're calling it a major grant when it's $3,000. But I just wonder, you know, like my project, the main purchase was a generator to be able to have outdoor shows during the pandemic, and the generator cost $700. I couldn't even buy, you know, the one thing. Yeah, I had to use ticket sales to cover that. So yeah, I just wonder what the board thinks of that idea of making the mini 1,000 and the major 3,000.
When you bring up a good point too, you know, maybe it's something to consider consolidating them all and just calling them all mini grants, and that the max is $1,000. And so we would have 4,000 in mini grants. Now, the one thing that this board had thought of though, with the mini grants, I would just cut you a check. So assuming the board said, yes, Chelsea, we're awarding you this money, I just write you a check for $500, and then on the back end, you submit the receipts. Whereas the major grants, you would have to spend the money first, and then I would reimburse you after the fact. So I'm cool with doing that. My only question is we would need a little more conversation from you, this group, the Arts Council, to decide, do we want to go ahead and stroke the check on the front end for the $1,000, or do we want it to be a reimbursement?
When I sat down and created this, I had in my mind that the mini grant was something that's supposed to help artists, not for them to have to, pay back, or, you know, it was supposed to like give you that money to help the artists get supplies or whatever they need in order to move themselves up to another level. But you know, I got voted out. But I kind of go with the idea that give the money up front and not have to reimburse them. I mean, mini grant, that's what it means, to help an artist get what they need to get to move forward.
Is there a maximum amount that I'm sorry if you just said this, but could we do $1,000 grant and give it up front, or is there some maximum amount where it's a cutoff that has to be reimbursed?
We absolutely can. It would just need to be called the mini grant because I have a resolution that defines the mini grant and the major grant, and the mini grant indicates that you get your money up front. So that's why I would recommend, if we do want to go this route, it needs to be called mini, not major. And I also really am sensitive to the fact that it's like, wow, major grant, it's not like it's $1 million. It's still pretty small. So, you know, we could totally do that, but we need to stick with the exact same words, and we can, you know, just consolidate the dollar amount. I think the board would be very okay with that.
My proposal would be to just get rid of the major grant then and just have lots of $1,000 mini grants.
And it doesn't mean that you even have to give, it's a maximum of 1,000. So say we did this last year, that instead of doing 3, that you said, well, let's give everybody a smidge less, and we captured a 4th, you know, and it may have been 4 and we captured a 5th. I can't 100% remember, but you know, it doesn't mean that you have to give $1,000, that maybe $800 grants is where you want to go. But you can't give a $1,200 grant. You could totally do an $800 grant. You just can't go over whatever the mini amount is. It's like, that's the max.
And then my only other thing I wanted to get in, sorry, I know I'm talking a lot, but I wanted to mention that I like how simple the application is. I like Dr. Queen's idea of adding a budget, but I would say let's not add too much because it is such a small amount of money. It's nice that it's a simple grant with a simple application. I wouldn't want to make it a really complicated grant with lots of things people have to fill out when it's such a small amount of money.
Well, wonderful. I appreciate everybody's thoughts on that, and I'll go ahead and make those changes and get it on the next available county commission agenda with either the July 31st or the August 31st deadline.
And I'll still send you my idea of a budget.
Wonderful, thank you. And Mr. Chair, I don't know if you're ready for public comment, but one of the things I wanted to mention to you is that technically our July meeting is July 5th. That is a county observed holiday. So I did look at the Grace Night calendar, and Grace Night is available on the 12th. So we can do a couple of things. We can delay the meeting by a week, or we can even cancel for the month of July. The county commission does take what they call commission summer break. So they have 2 whole weeks in the month of July that they have no meetings, and then that allows people to go on family vacations and all that kind of stuff. So we have a couple of options for you, and I'm not asking for a motion or anything like that, but you know, maybe some discussion on how you'd like to handle your July meeting, because July 5th will be closed. Is
there anything in particular for July's agenda that is time sensitive or urgent?
The only thing I can think of is maybe I'll have an update for you on the West Lawn, but that could be something I share with you via email, you know, and I'll blind copy everybody so you don't inadvertently respond back to each other. But honestly, that's the only thing I can really think of.
I'm fine with pushing it a week or even canceling it. It depends on what the majority of the board would like to do, but I'm open to both.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if we can reply independently on the loan, then it's fine to cancel it.
Any other thoughts on that?
We can cancel July and push it to August. It's fine with me.
And
kids go back to school on August 1st anyway. So. And I got a son. So July will give me time enough to do what I need to do, because you only get 30 days summer. So that'll be great.
I also agree with pushing it to August. I think it's a good idea.
Okay. And we're now at item 8, which is public comment. I do see Miss Faye is on the line, but she doesn't have her microphone on, so I don't know if she's here for public comment.
I just can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I just plugged in. I'm sorry I'm late. I forgot about the meeting.
No.
So did y'all talk about the West Lawn?
Yes, ma'am.
Did y'all make a decision? Or does it have to come back?
So the current decision is the Board of County Commissioners were notified that an anonymous donor would match up to $50,000 if the statue would be of Dr. Martin Luther King. I've brought this to the attention of the Community Remembrance Project Committee and the Arts Council, and both had some concerns about it being required to be Dr. King because he is honored already in the community. So they've asked if I would go back to the Board of County Commissioners and to the donor and ask if another Alachua County citizen, significant citizen, could be recognized instead of Dr. King.
Or go back to our original idea, something neutral.
Yeah, I thought we said we would not have a person's face or name that we would. Am I wrong in that?
No, ma'am. That's correct. But whenever the board discussed the Gainesville megaphone suggestions, they decided to reject all bids, and because of the private donor and their desire for a Martin Luther King statue, that's where we are at the moment.
So if we object to that, what do we need to do? Go to the county commission?
Well, I'm going to talk to the county commission privately, and I'm also going to talk to the donor, because again, if the donor says it's going to be Dr. King or I'm not giving you my $50,000, I need to tell the county commission that. So I need to talk to the donor first.
Okay.
And see, you know, what kind of strings, like if they're open to other suggestions, and if they're not open to other suggestions, then, you know, the county needs to stick with our original budget and we can do whatever. Or, you know, if they're open to other things, then we would have the ability to have a bigger, nicer statue, because our budget would be twice the size.
Yeah, but I don't want the money to decide, you know, what we have on University Avenue, because it always comes back to money. Who's got the most money, they have control. And if he can understand why we need to have something rather than a face. And I love Martin Luther King Jr. Remember, I was born on the same day, not the same year. January 15th, I was born on the same day, but I do not want to see his face on University Avenue and Main Street. And I think the county would listen to us if, you know, if needed. But Jean, I think it's on you. You can handle the situation. Go do it. Make it happen the right way.
All righty. Thank you, ma'am.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. Wait a minute. Where's Carol? She's not here.
She was here, but she dropped off about 10 minutes ago. She had another
okay.
thing.
Okay. All righty. Thank y'all.
Looks like we have another comment and support from the public.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Yeah, we just had the same, we just said the same that you just did about the sculpture.
Oh, okay. All right. We're in sync. We're in sync.
Yes.
Thank you.
We all agree with you, Miss Faye.
Yeah. Money does not talk with us. That's right.
We agree with you. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? I'm not seeing anyone else in the meeting. Any board members have any public comment? Hearing none, I will take a motion to adjourn. Oh, actually.
No motion.
So seeing everything has been discussed on the agenda, I adjourn at 6:35 p.m.
All right. Thank you, everybody. See y'all in
Bye,
August.
everyone.
Evening.
Have a good summer, everybody.
You
Bye. You too.